मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवस्य श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य Hare Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita teaches us the lessons of life. So if we really study Gita, so through Gita we can get the real guidance of how to act so that the action itself qualifies us to become happy. How can one be happy when he is peaceful inside? So we saw in the second chapter, just a brief recap of what we discussed. So Bhagavad Gita second chapter is known as contents of Gita summarized. It is Gita ka sar. That means what all is content in Bhagavad Gita is presented in the second chapter. How? Anyone? So that means Bhagavad Gita is over. If you have read the contents, so that means Bhagavad Gita study is over? No. Krishna has just introduced the broad concepts, the broad yoga system. What are these yoga systems which Krishna has introduced? In the second chapter, anyone would like to share? What are the yoga systems Krishna introduced in the second chapter? Okay, Buddhi Yoga. And before Buddhi Yoga, which yoga did he speak? Karma Yoga. Okay, he spoke about Karma Kand. Before he spoke about Buddhi Yoga, he spoke about Karma Kand. Hito va prapasi swarga, jitva va bhokshase mahim. So if you fight, you will win the kingdom to enjoy. And while fighting, if you die, then also there is no loss. You will go to the heavenly planets to enjoy. So there is gain for you with both hands. And what else did Krishna speak? What all other yoga systems Krishna spoke? First thing Krishna spoke in the second chapter is the Sankhya. Krishna gave the knowledge about the difference between body and soul. A very detailed discussion is there. Then Krishna spoke about Karma Kand. That is from verse number 31 till 37. And then Krishna finally spoke about Buddhi Yoga, which is none other than Nishkam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. So in a way, Krishna has introduced, and Krishna also in between spoke about Bhakti Yoga. So Nishkam Karma Yoga leads to Bhakti. And Krishna spoke about how one has to perform action. As I said, action should be as an art. So action is responsible both for our remain in this material world and suffer, and action is also responsible for our liberation. So what is the criteria, or what is the deciding factor which leads one action, the same action one is performing, to be liberated, and the other action one is performing to be in bondage? See, on the battlefield, Arjuna was fighting. He was also a warrior. He was fighting, and his action of fighting is liberating him. Whereas on the other side, the Kauravas led by the Duryodhana, okay, come, take seat. They were also fighting. But their action, the same action, will lead them to bondage. So this will determine that what is the criteria. Very important. It is not the action per se which is binding or liberating. It is the mind frame, the mentality, or it is called the consciousness. One's awakening or awareness as to why he's performing the action. Like you are studying, while you are studying, your study can also become worship. People say work is worship, but they do not know what is work and what is worship. They just speak. But it requires three things. It requires knowledge. One has to be situated in knowledge. That knowledge Krishna is giving. Then besides, knowledge is not sufficient. It requires training. One has to be trained how to apply that knowledge in one's actions, in one's activities. And the third and the important aspect is purification. Unless and until there is purification, even if one has knowledge and training, it will not work. He will not be able to have the results. So Krishna is giving a very detailed discourse in this chapter about how to perform our action, with what mindset, with what consciousness one should perform action, so that the action itself can become the cause of one's liberation or happiness. And Krishna also speaks in this chapter in the end about what is the foremost impediment. Why is it that even while being situated in knowledge, even being trained, one is not able to perform the art of work? What is that? That is lust. So very interesting chapter. Very, very interesting chapter. Very practical chapter for all of us. Every verse of Bhagavad Gita is very relevant, very practical. So after hearing, Arjuna was patiently hearing. Arjuna raised 4 questions. You remember the 4 questions which Arjuna raised, which we discussed at length. It took almost how many? More than 4 classes on the 4 questions. So Arjuna, after hearing all this, so in the 3rd chapter, Arjuna begins with a question. So one is inquiring, one is inquisitive. So it gives 3 reflexes or 3 symptoms. One, that the person is inquisitive. Inquisitive means he has the desire to receive knowledge. Then only he is asking. Secondly, if he is inquisitive, that means he is hearing attentively. One who is not hearing attentively cannot ask. Why? Because his mind is not there. His mind is somewhere else. And third, the most important reason is that he wants to serve. He wants to advance. So let us see how Arjuna begins this chapter. The first 2 verses are beginning with Arjuna's question. And let us see what Arjuna sets the chapter with. This is verse number 1, chapter 3. Arjuna uvacha jyasi chet karmanaste matta buddhir janardhana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi Keshava. So after hearing a detailed discourse of the second chapter, even to the extent of one who is Atmaram, who is completely situated in intelligence, spiritual intelligence. Arjuna's intelligence is still bewildered. So don't be pessimistic that you are hearing Gita, but still some doubts are there in the heart. So the typical conditioned soul, he carries forward his conception very, very strongly. He does not want to give up his own conception easily. Okay, please hear, please hear. So Arjuna is beginning with this doubt. Arjuna is questioning Krishna. What question Arjuna is putting? He is saying that Jyasi chet karmanaste matta buddhir janardana. So there are two words to be put into attention. One is karmana and the other is buddhir. So far Arjuna is saying that Keshava, he is calling Krishna as Janardhana. Janardhana is Jana. Jana means the mass of men. So Krishna is Janardhana also. He is the maintainer of every living entity. How? Because he resides in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma. So he says, you know what is there in my heart, my dear Krishna, Janardhana. That one time you are saying that you fight, and the other you are making me have this knowledge of which is of buddhi. So tat kim karmani ghore mam, you have given me the knowledge of buddhi yoga. And what Arjuna has understood by the knowledge of buddhi yoga that we will discuss, Arjuna has understood like most people think. What most people think, that if you come to spiritual life, then you can just remain and relax. You don't have to do any action. So spiritual life means complete inaction. So Arjuna is saying that when you are giving me this knowledge, why are you forcing me to fight? Tat kim karmani ghore mam. Why are you pushing me in this ghastly warfare? Jasi Keshava. So Arjuna said, oh Janardana, oh Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work. So Krishna has given a detailed discourse about Buddhi Yoga. So he says that the Buddhi Yoga is action by intelligence, action which is guided by spiritual intelligence. So spiritual intelligence is higher than fruitive work or action. So why you are forcing me to act? So what I should do, based on the knowledge that you have given me with spiritual intelligence, I will accept that knowledge and I will go and retire. Where I want to retire? I want to retire in the Himalayas or in the forest. So let us see what Srila Prabhupada says, that we will discuss further. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter. What is the constitution of the soul? We discussed in length. Someone remembers something, at least one or two aspects. What is the constitution of the soul? Or constitution means that cannot be changed. True character. Like for water, what is the true character? Liquidity. Water, when it is at normal temperature, it will always be liquid. If you expose it to high temperature, what it will become? Vapor. But as soon as it comes back to normal temperature, vapor will become water. Similarly, if you freeze it, it will become ice. But as soon as the ice comes to normal temperature, it will become. So the liquidity is the intrinsic or the constitutional character of the water. So you got it. So Krishna explained the constitution of the soul in the second chapter with great length. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. First thing is that the soul cannot be slain. ध्यान है? भूल गए. that the soul can never die. Only the body dies. So soul is everlasting. It is immortal. Na jayate briyate va kadachit. That there is never a time when the soul does not exist. So Krishna has described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter with a view to delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. So material grief, suffering, disturbances, impediments are all there. Why? Because we are not coming to the platform of soul. Body means always suffering, like I am suffering from cold. Yeah. So body always means that there will be suffering. But one who is at the platform of soul, he can not be affected by the suffering. Suffering will be there. Miseries will be there. But to the it will not be affecting everyone at the same level. Right or no? So one who is attached to the body, he will suffer more. And one who is detached sufficiently, he will not be affected. So Krishna gave this knowledge of constitution of the soul with a view to deliver his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. And the path of realization has been recommended is Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. What is Buddhi Yoga? Anyone remembers what is Buddhi Yoga? I hope you are able to catch the concepts. We are reviewing. Even if you have not been able to do that, so we are again recapping. Anyone remembers Buddhi Yoga? Spiritual intelligence. Okay, that you, but still more, what we discussed in Buddhi Yoga, even more at deeper length. Why Buddhi Yoga is so very prominent? Or why Buddhi Yoga is special? What Buddhi Yoga does? Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam taktva marishinam janma bandhur vinurmukta. So one is liberated from the cycle of birth and death. So action which is performed, which does not bind one with reaction. Or action which liberates one. In this world, if you perform any action, so that action itself becomes the cause of one's bondage. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. But this is divine action. This is transcendental action. So Krishna spoke about Buddhi Yoga. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. Inertia, you understand? What is inertia? Inaction. Yes. Or being lazy. Or rather being crazy. Not performing the prescribed action. And one with such a consciousness, and one with such a misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in this secluded place. So there is a discussion. I want you to participate in this discussion. How many of you want to participate? The learning will be deeper. Only 1%. Others, they want to remain inertia. So Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. Many times we come across many students who approach us. Even not only students. So many times I see many businessmen also. When they meet me, the Prabhuji, हम आपकी तरह रहना चाहते हैं. हम आपकी तरह होना चाहते हैं. I said, why? Plus संसार में बड़ा झंझट है. So what they want to do? They want to escape from the struggle or from the hardship that they are facing. But can they come and be with us? I can guarantee not even one day. One day, 24 hours to be in our schedule is not possible for an ordinary man. But if you come to Dham and be with us, then it becomes possible. But ordinarily, it is not possible. So what it means that Krishna consciousness is not inertia. Krishna consciousness means that one is working 24/7. Do we work 24/7 in our routine life? No, we don't. But Krishna consciousness means that one works 24 hours. How? Because he is his mind, body, and speech. We also have a BMW. Everyone desires to have a BMW. BMW is what? Body, mind, and words. So with body, so we are always running our BMW. Body, mind, and words, we are trying to serve Krishna. So Arjuna has misunderstood. Many times people, young men, they want to come. They see the YouTube channel of Amog Leela Prabhu, and Amog Leela Prabhu tells me that when he wants to come, Prabhu ji, hame bhi andar le lijiye apne saath. So Krishna consciousness is not inertia. Arjuna has misunderstood. Arjuna is thinking that now Krishna has given me the knowledge, and with this knowledge, what I have to do? I have to be free from action. When Prabhupada, he was preaching in the West, after he preached in the West sufficiently in US and Europe, then he called his Western disciples to come to India to help him build temples in India. So Prabhupada started 3 big projects simultaneously. One in Vrindavan, the other in Mayapur, where we are going. So some of you are interested, please come. If you are not able to come for 1 week, then come for 3 days. But do come. And also in Mumbai. So Prabhupada, Indians were not Prabhupada's followers or disciples at that time. So Prabhupada called his American disciples to come. And they came to Vrindavan. And Vrindavan, when the construction was happening in India in early 1970s or late 60s, there were very restrictions. You could not get cement. You could not get steel. There was quota system, permit system. There was so much of red tape, bureaucracy. So one day, 2 of Prabhupada's disciples, they approached Prabhupada and said that, Prabhupada, Gurudev, you brought us to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a place of performing bhajan. But here, we are working so hard. Since morning till night, we are working how the construction can begin, how we can arrange for cement, how we can arrange the contractor labor is there. There is so much of difficulty. There is so much of trouble. There is so much of suffering. We did not come to Vrindavan for this suffering. We came to Vrindavan for peace. Prabhupada said that, do you not want to advance? So this is a complete misconception that people have. That is why we tell you to come with us for a few days. So you will see, you will wake up at 3 and sleep at 10, and in between there will be no rest. And how happily you will be working. What working? Singing, dancing, chanting, hearing, and sharing. So Krishna consciousness is not inertia. It is not escapism. You understand what is escapism? Escapism, not able to pass the exam. One IARI student, he came to me. He was coming in the classes and then he came to me in the temple. And he told me that I want to join IARI. I want to leave IARI and I want to join temple. So I asked him why. What gives you this idea? So he told me, very difficult, there is so troublesome. I said, if you are having trouble there, you will have much more trouble here. So better remain in your place, complete your education, first get trained, first receive knowledge and proper purification. Then only you can come. Recently, there was one student, I will not name him. He was not interested in pursuing his IARI PhD. But I forced him. I literally forced him that you will not be able to achieve anything if you do not do your service. So what Arjuna was thinking? Arjuna was having this notion from first chapter. What was his notion? That if I do not fight and if I go to the forest, I will be happy. So there are 4 levels of work, which Krishna explained. But Arjuna could understand only 2. What were the 4 levels of work? First was that it is the sinful action. It is called vikarma. So Arjuna, in the first chapter, he was saying, Narke niyatam vyaso, that if I fight and if I kill, so what will happen? Sinful reaction will come and I will go to hell. And I will suffer. So I don't want to fight. So vikarma or sinful action is prohibited. But second, Krishna spoke about karma kanda. That is, Krishna spoke in the verses from 31 till 37, where he says that you should fight for the sake of fighting. So if you fight, what you will do? You will win the kingdom, or even if you die fighting, you will gain heavenly planets. So there will be material success, material gain for you at both levels. Then Krishna spoke about Nishkam, that is Buddhi Yoga. So Krishna gave a higher platform, a higher goal to Arjuna. That because if you work in the Nishkam platform, Kama means desire to enjoy. So if you give up the desire to enjoy, but still you perform duty, actually that work is dutiful work. So that work will award you liberation, and that will award you peace, Shanti. You see in the second chapter, Krishna is speaking about Shanti. With the last verses, if you see, in the 66th verse, Krishna says, Ashantasya kuto sukham. Yeah. Nasti buddhi ayuktasya, na cha ayuktasya bhavana, na cha bhavyata shanti, ashantasya kuto sukham. So one who does not have the transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, there is no possibility of peace. And without peace, how there can be happiness? And then he explained in the 70th verse that how one can achieve peace. That apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudram apam pravashanti yadvat tadvat kama yam pravashanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kama kami. That one who can achieve peace, one who does not strive to satisfy such desires. So give up the desires and work for my mission. Third word number 38 and 39, Krishna spoke about his mission. He says that you give up the desire for care and loss. 38. Yeah, Krishna says, Sukhe dukhe sabe kritva labho labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva nevam papam vapesi. So anyway, Arjuna was risen from the level of, but Krishna also spoke, and he said that if you do not fight, what will be the position? You will go to hell. If you do not fight, you will definitely go to hell for not performing your duty. Verse number 33. Atha chetam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tatha swadharma kirtimcha hitva papam avapyasi. So you will be inflicted by pap sin and you will go to hell. Not by giving up fight you will be relieved from hell, but by not fighting you will definitely go to hell. And if you fight you will go to heaven. If you die you will go to heaven. And Krishna also spoke about Gyan, knowledge. So Arjuna is thinking that Gyan is the best. Arjuna is thinking that being situated in knowledge, being renounced, I can give up action. That is very immature stage. So that is why those who even come to Krishna consciousness, those who are not purified, those who are not trained, those who are not in knowledge, they cannot stay. Because Krishna consciousness is not inertia. Krishna consciousness is constant engagement. Krishna consciousness is constant engagement, 24/7. So here Arjuna is thinking, but without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name in a secluded place. where one may acquire only cheap adoration from the innocent public. So you see most of the so-called Babas and yogis, they are all, what are they? They are in this category, that they want to live in a secluded place. They want to chant some mantra and get some cheap popularity. People come and give them some offering and they want to live by that. Arjuna also thought of Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence and spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement from active life and practice of penance and austerity at a secluded place. In other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna as to his best course of action. In answer, Lord Krishna elaborately explains Karma Yoga or work in Krishna consciousness in this third chapter. So this is the mindset of Arjuna. So we have also this mindset. We are thinking that if we start practicing Krishna consciousness, what will happen? I will become a beggar. What will happen to my degree? What will happen to my career? What will happen to my desires? What will happen to my wife? What will happen to my family? So many doubts are there or not? So many doubts are there. So what Arjuna is saying? So Arjuna is now putting his question. And he's saying, what Arjuna is saying is typical of our mind. This is how our mind speaks. See the next verse. Very beautiful. What Arjuna says, Arjuna is not leaving it here. Arjuna is actually representing all of us. Arjuna is the representative of conditioned soul. So how the conditioned soul thinks and how he desires, both is represented here. But from 7th chapter onwards, Arjuna will change. From 7th chapter onwards, Arjuna will change. But as of now, Arjuna is fully representing a conditioned soul. Please come. Please come. दुल्हावनी अपने पास बैठा लो, यहाँ बैठा लो, book दे दीजिए, दिनेश जी को book दे दीजिए. So this is the second verse. So Arjuna, you see, in the 2nd chapter, Arjuna did not give up easily. What he was saying, what are you telling me? You are telling me to fight my teacher and grandfather? No, it is better for me to rot in the head. I will not fight with them. So Arjuna was giving, and Krishna smashed all his argument. He said, what you can kill? You do not know what you are talking. So here Arjuna is putting the question representing all of us. And what is his next question? He says, Vyamishrene vavakyena buddhi bhoyasi evame tadekam vad nishchitya yena shreyo apanuyam. Excuse me, sorry. My nose is not supporting me. That is what I can say. Anyway, whether it supports or not, I will continue with my service. So, Vyami Shreneva. Vyami Shreneva means that it is equivocal. You understand equivocal? Dohrapan. What is, anyone is having the Hindi book? That was one Hindi. Yeah. देखो क्या लिखा है? अनेक अर्थ. Okay. फिर भी थोड़ा माइल्ड है. दोगली बात सुनते हैं ना. You are talking double standard. Double standard you understand, na? So Krishna is being questioned by Arjuna. Vyami Shreneva Vakyena. You are talking double standards. What is the double standard? And because of your double standard speaking, my intelligence is bewildered. So tad ekam vad nishchityam. So please decide. Nishchityam means to decide for certain. You give me only one thing to do. Don't tell me 10 things to do. Or don't tell me 2 things to do. You tell me to study also. And you tell me to practice also. Don't tell me 2 things. Either I can study or I can practice. So that my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instruction. What is the equivocal instruction? Krishna has spoken about jnana also, and Krishna has spoken about karma also. So remember the two things. Karma and buddhi. So Arjuna is bewildered. Therefore, please tell me decisively which one will be most beneficial for me. This is the great merit of Arjuna. Arjuna is not allowing his mind to dictate or guide him. The mind has a tendency to be always bewildered. Right or wrong? How many of you whose mind is always peaceful? Anyone? Any such super soul? Fortunate soul? So what is the solution? The solution is given here. What Arjuna did, he did not allow his mind to decide. So Arjuna is putting what his mind is speaking in front of his teacher. That position has been taken by Krishna. So he's saying, you decide. So please tell me decisively. He's not taking his own decision. So whenever we are perplexed, whenever we are bewildered, whenever we are confused, what we should do? What is the life lesson? What we should do? Consult. Simple. We should consult. We should always consult. And whom to consult? You should be sincere to know whom to consult. Consult someone who is representative of Krishna. So the bewilderment will be over. So Arjuna is asking that, please tell me one thing. Don't give me two things. Don't give me 10 things. Like when we come to Krishna consciousness, one day we are told that you go and do book distribution. Second day we are told you go and do deity service. Third day we are told you give Bhagavatam class. Fourth day we are told you go and do fund collection. Well, what is this? One day you are asking me to do this. Next day you are saying that there is no one, you go and clean the temple. So give me only one thing. Don't give me so many things, so many options. Let us see what Srila Prabhupada is explaining. That in the previous chapter, as the prelude to Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as the Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya was difference between spirit and matter, eternal and temporary, body and soul. Buddhi Yoga. And what is Buddhi Yoga actually? Prabhupada says control of the senses by intelligence. So another definition of Buddhi Yoga is how to be able to control the senses and mind by intelligence. Work without fruitive desire and position of a neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. This is what Arjuna is saying. You have not presented systematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man would accept them without misinterpretation. So Arjuna is representing all of us. He wants to have this clear. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness either by inertia or by active service. So both are important. Either there is inertia, nor there is only action. There has to be one has to be Krishna conscious to perform action also. So Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness. In other words, by his question, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita. So it is for our own benefit. Arjuna was not confused, as I say, but Arjuna is taking the role. Arjuna is playing the double role in Bhagavad Gita. What is the double role he is playing? One role he is playing of a conditioned soul. He is representing all the jivas in the Kali Yuga. Second role is the original role which Arjuna is playing, is of a pure devotee, who is Bhakto si mein sakha cheti. So at which time Arjuna is playing which role, that we cannot decide. So for that is why we require the commentary of the Acharyas. So they explain. So Arjuna is asking here that you please tell me for sure what I have to do, whether I have to perform action or whether I have to be situated in knowledge. Don't ask me to do both things. So now you have understood this is the setting. This is the platform on which this chapter will be spoken. What we have to do in this human form of life. Having attained this human form of life, what should be our direction? What should be our motion? So Krishna answers the two questions. So we will take the third verse also. Third verse and maybe fourth and fifth verse also. First five verses we will try to cover. So after hearing Arjuna's question, Krishna smiles and he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Loke Asme Duvidhanishta Pura Prokta Mayanakha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yogina. So Krishna is not refuting what Arjuna is saying, but he is giving a deeper conception, a clearer understanding to what Arjuna is thinking. He says, Loke Asmin, in this world, Dvavidha Nishtha. Dvavidha means there are two types or two kinds of Nishtha. Nishtha means faith, which I have already spoken, my dear. Pura Poktha. Pura means in the past. And Prokta means I have said. Anaga is calling Arjuna as a very important name. It is Anagha. Anagha means one who is free from sin. So Arjuna is so pure. Why Krishna actually spoke to Arjuna? Because Arjuna is Anagha. So as we become pure, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita can penetrate in our heart. And to the extent we remain impure, very difficult. It remains in the book. It does not touch or it does not enter our heart. So what are the two types of faith or two types of path which Krishna has given? One is the Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, and the other is Karma Yogena Yogina. So interchangeably the word Jnana and Buddhi is the same. What has Arjuna understood? He has understood Buddhi means application of knowledge. And also the 49th verse Krishna says, if you see the 49th verse, that is also the Acharya says, that is the verse where Arjuna becomes even more bewildered. When Krishna says, Dure hi avaram karna buddhi yoga dhananjaya. 2.49. Dure hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Buddho sharanam anviksha kripana phalahitava. So Krishna said, you keep all abominable activities far. How? By being situated in Buddhi Yoga. So what Arjuna is saying? That fighting is abominable. So what is the instruction? That you don't fight. You keep your abominable activities aside. Why should I study? When I know the goal of life is to achieve Krishna and is to serve Krishna, why you are forcing me to study? The same question. Although that goal is not there, that fortune has still not arisen. But even if that has arisen, in any condition, unless and until we are liberated or we are sufficiently purified, we cannot give up our occupational duties. You understand what is occupational duty? Like you are all in the student life, isn't it? So what is the occupation in the student life? Is to study, is to gain knowledge. And if you are not doing that, then what will come? Same will happen what is happening with Arjuna. What will come? You don't want to speak. But by not speaking, will it not come? Sinful reaction. Sinful reaction. If you come to IARI, you take the seat, you have scholarship, and you don't study and don't contribute for country's increment in food grade production or whatever is your specialization, then what reactions will come? Sinful reactions will come. Coming here and then trying for IAS or IPS or IFS is what? It is cheating. It's cheating. So here, Krishna is saying, Jnana Yogena Sankhyana. So I have given you the Jnana Yogena. How? By giving you the knowledge of a spirit which is eternal, imperishable, indestructible, and also about matter which is destructible. And also I have given you the path of performing Karma Yoga, which is Karma Yogena Yogina. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, so anyone, not only for student life, it is for everyone. Either according to the 4th chapter, Krishna will say that I have classified the society according to karma and guna. Chatur Varna Maya system, guna karma vibhaga. So according to the quality we have to perform the activity. Very important. But that is not being followed now. Do we take up the profession according to the quality we have? No. A software engineer becomes a banker. What is he doing there? He is completely misfit. And then that is why you see, if you go to the corporates, the level of job satisfaction, every day it is depleting. Although the salary packages are increasing, but the job satisfaction is decreasing. Why? Because it is not on the vibhaga. Vibhaga means the division on karma and guna, because there is no guidance. What is the criteria for taking the job? What is the criteria for taking the job? Pay package. Pay package. Pay. The Supreme Personality, see the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O sinless Arjuna," this is very significant. Why Krishna is explaining Bhagavad Gita only to Arjuna? Because Arjuna is completely sinless. I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize this self. So both the paths are there. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation. That is called the Jnana Yoga. And others by devotional service. So Karma Yoga also classifies as devotional service. Anyone remembers the 2nd chapter? In the 2nd chapter, there is a very beautiful statement by Srila Prabhupada that how karma can become devotional service. Okay, but more specific. Any service which is done for the cause of the Supreme. You see 2.51, and in the last statement, if you see, service done for the cause of the Lord is called Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, or in plain words, devotional service to the Lord. This is very, very revolutionary. Found it? Last line. Yes. So Krishna is saying that I have already explained. But because you are not clear, I will detail and explain again with more depth. So in spiritual practice or in spiritual guidance, there is never an end. Even if you have explained, even if you have detailed, and if the other person is not understood, it is the duty to serve him, to help him, to come to the knowledge and understanding. If you go to your teacher, he has already given the session, he has already given the lecture, he has already given you the references, and then you go and ask him again and again. So what will happen, Dineshji? Will he take the class again? Is it possible? No. But Krishna is not such a teacher. In the 2nd chapter, verse 39, see the purport. In the 2nd chapter, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedures, namely the Sankhya Yoga and the Karma Yoga. Esha te abhihita sankhye buddhi yogam tvam imam shudu. Buddhya yukta yaya partha karma bandhan prahasyasi. This is the verse. So Krishna has already given both the paths. In this verse, the Lord explains the same more clearly. Sankhya Yoga, or the analytical study of the nature of spirit and matter, as we have discussed, is the subject matter for persons, those who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. So this is called the Gyan Marg. The Gyan Marga is basically for those who are Gyanis. They have received this knowledge that they are convinced that they are not this body, they are soul. And they are sufficiently detached from the material world. There is a statement in Bible, I don't remember clearly. Be in this world, but not be of the world. Have you heard it? I think none of you have read Bible also, but I have studied Bible. It was my subject. One of my subjects. I studied it for 4 years. 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 years. So the Jnana Yoga is the way of achieving perfection. Why? Differentiating between matter and spirit. So detached from where? Matter. And pursuing the spiritual part, so one can become self-realized. That is the Sankhya Yoga. The other class of men in Krishna consciousness, that is explained in the 61st verse of the second chapter. What is the 61st verse? Tani sarvani sayyamya yuktasit matpara. I think this is the verse. Yes. Vashehi yas indriyanam tasya pragya pratishthitam. So in this verse, Krishna is talking about Yuktasit. Yuktasit means that one who is connected, it is inner connection with me. His consciousness is fixed in me. And he works for me. So Krishna, Prabhupada quotes that Savemana Krishna Padara Vidya. So he is engaging all his mind and senses in this service. So there are two paths. One path, he is not engaging the mind and service in action. He is cultivating knowledge. And on the other part, what he is doing, he is dovetailing all the faculties of his senses and mind in the service of the Supreme Lord. Are you with me or not? समझ में आ रहा है या नहीं समझ में आ रहा है? क्या नहीं समझ में आया तो हाथ उठा के पूछ लेना. The Lord has explained also in the 39th verse that by working by the principles of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bonds of action. What was the 39th verse? Karma bandhan prahasyasi. So one will be free from the bondage of action. Why? Because he is situated in Buddhi Yoga. So very important. So one has to perform action. But action, how he has to perform? When he is situated in spiritual intelligence. That is Buddhi Yoga. So Buddhi Yoga is to depend entirely on the Supreme, or more specifically on Krishna. And in this way, all the senses can be brought under control very easily. Therefore, both the yogas are interdependent. This is very important. So one who is performing karma yoga, that does not mean that he will not cultivate jnana. Sometimes some devotees came, some of Prabhupada's neophyte followers came and said that Swamiji, the perfection is to sit at one place and chant. The purpose of all activities of Krishna consciousness is to remember Krishna. And how do we best remember Krishna? When we sit and chant. So why you are writing so many books? Why you are giving so many books? Our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he never slept all his life. Because if he would have slept, then where these books would have been there? He used to sleep at 10 and wake up at 12. Every day, 365 days, and he circumambulated the world 14 times. How many times? 14 times in 12 years. But his schedule never changed. And he was giving so many books. So these followers came and said that when the perfection is to sit and chant, why you are giving us so many books? The Prabhupada said if the books are not there, this knowledge is not there, you will never be able to sit and you will never be able to chant. So both are what? Interdependent. They are not independent. Not this or that. It cannot be my way or highway. My way and be on the highway. That is the only way. That means we cannot arbitrarily decide that what we will do and what we will give up. Therefore, both the yogas are interdependent as religion and philosophy. Religion without philosophy is sentiment. Very beautiful, very powerful. You can see now. Religion without philosophy is sentiment. What is the greatest example of this? इसका बड़ा उदाहरण क्या है? Religion without philosophy or fanaticism. चलो अभी बताओ. Religion without philosophy is fanaticism. What does it mean? Is the world experiencing this or not? What is it? Terrorism. What is terrorism? They are in the name of religion. But what are they doing? They are going against their own religion. They are not following any religion. They are not human. They are below human. So one has to come to the platform of human, but it is a sentiment. Why? Because they themselves do not know what is the philosophy. So Prabhupada is saying here that religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism. See when Prabhupada wrote this commentary of Bhagavad Gita, 1960s. 1960s. In 1960s, there was any terrorism? There was any terrorism of this type? What we are experiencing in the last 20 years? Nothing. Not even a seed of it. But if we have religion without philosophy, so this will be the outcome. While philosophy without religion is mental speculation. Both sides are important. And only there is philosophy and there is no religion. Religion means practice. So if one is only speaking or one is only studying and one is not applying in his life, what is it? It is only mental speculation. Speculation, you understand? Which has nothing to do with reality. One is always in a dream world. Imagination. Very good. Prabhupada says in the phantasmagoria. He is dreaming. So the ultimate goal is Krishna. Because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada says that the most confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. So unless the both are important. So that is why, what is the philosophy giving us? To become Krishna conscious. What is the Jnana Marga? Jnana Marga is to know Krishna. That is why we have Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita teaches us that who Krishna is, how it is supreme, absolute truth, what his opulences are, what his powers are, how he controls the entire universe, the entire creation, and why we should develop connection with him. So that is Jnana, that is knowledge, that is required. Because if we do not have the knowledge, then what will be the result? That we will never have connection with Krishna. So we will remain unconnected. And the second aspect is, if we have the knowledge, then we have to perform service to him. So that requires action. So that is devotional service. So both are required. Why is knowledge required? To perform devotional service. And when can one perform devotional service? When he has the proper knowledge. As I said, knowledge, training and purification. And without which it will not be possible. This is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. So both requires Jnana Yogena and Karma Yogena. So Jnana Yogena is Krishna consciousness and Karma Yogena is devotional service. So it is not one in the absence of other. It is not possible. The indirect process is philosophical speculation by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness. And the other process is directly connecting everything with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Of these two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it depends on purifying the senses by a philosophical process. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process. And by the direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime. Sublime. Anyone has any understanding of what does sublime mean? Prabhupada is saying that direct method of devotional service is simultaneously easy and sublime. Easy, you understand. So Krishna consciousness is easy. And it is also devotional service is sublime. What is sublime? Anyone? Bolo. Attempt. There is no negative marking, Mike. Even if you do not give the right answer, you don't lose anything. Well, no interaction is coming from your side. Only I am speaking. Although speaking is not easy for me today. Bolo, Shraddha. Sublime means that there will be the impact or the word transformation using, but details we will not know. Like you just give water to the root, and what happens? The entire tree is nourished. You feed the stomach, but the hands, the legs, every part of the body is nourished. So similarly, if you practice Krishna consciousness, you advance in devotional service. And as you advance in devotional service, you advance in self-realization. So the details you may not know how it is happening. But the impact is there. It is permanent. It is both easy and it is sublime. Why? Because it is the purifying process. The process itself is purifying. If you accept it, if you practice it. Then Krishna says, Na karmana na manarabha deshkarmyam purusho ashrute na cha sannyasa deva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Na karmana na anarabha. Karmana means action. And anarabha. Arabha means to activate or to put into action. So one who does not perform action, or one who abstains from action, or one who renounces the action. Krishna is saying, na. Na means there's the negation. Krishna is rejecting it. Na karmana nam anarabha. That if you do not perform your prescribed action, Neshkarmya Purusho Ashrute. Neshkarmya means that action which is free from reaction. He said you cannot come to that platform. Arjuna, if you think that you don't want to fight and you want to go to the forest, if someone has come to INI and he does not want to study, he does not want to appear in his exams, and he wants to do something else. So, what Krishna is saying, that you cannot achieve perfection. You cannot be freed from the reaction of action. So this is for those who are giving up their prescribed actions. Second, he says, second also he is negating. Nacha sannyasa deva siddhim samadhi gacchati. And if one takes sannyas, many times people say, huh? If the wife is not cooperative, if the children are not obedient, if the business is not doing well, so what do people want to do? Take sannyas. Huh? And become a Baba. Krishna thinks this is all bogus. And this is all useless. This is all cheating. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone one can attain perfection. So what is the way? One has to be purified. One has to practice the process. Unless and until one has sufficiently practiced the process, he has purified, he has received training, and he has received knowledge, he has applied the principles in life, he cannot come to sannyas. So that is why sannyasis, what are they doing? They are creating havoc. Actually, they are not sannyasis. They don't know what is sannyas. Bhagavad Gita speaks about what is sannyas. You are now getting the understanding of what is sannyasi? Sannyasi means one who performs his actions. That is why you see our sannyasi, Srila Prabhupada, at the age of 70, he took so much of risk and he went to America. So the lady who was giving him a free passage, she asked, कि बाबा जी अभी क्यों जाते हो आप? 70 साल की उम्र में कोई जाता है? But Prabhupada said, I have to complete the mission of my spiritual master. So his manager said that if he goes there, if this old man will go there, America is so cold, he will freeze to death. Prabhupada said, I don't care whether I live or I die. So this is a sannyasi. One who performs what he is instructed to perform, even if it is on the risk of his own life, but not to sit idle and try to enjoy the offerings of others. That is not sannyasi. Sri Krishna is saying, not by merely abstaining from work, one can achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So when one can achieve perfection, the renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified. Comes the point. By discharge of prescribed form of duties which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic men. Without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of life, sannyasa. So one time I did a research. So many sannyasis went to America to preach. And when they saw Prabhupada was successful, so many, they all tried to copy what Srila Prabhupada was saying. There were so many. One was very famous. Sambhog se samadhi tak. I will not name. There were so many. One gave transcendental management, meditation. And so many yoga societies were opened in America. But none of them survived. Why? Because none of them were sannyasis. What is sannyasi? Prabhupada is explaining here. That unless one has been purified by discharge of prescribed form of duties, and unless and until the heart is purified, without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting this fourth order of life. What are the four orders of life? First, there is brahmacharya, then there is grihastha. Brahmacharya means that student life. Student life also means celibate. One should not have any sexual connection. That is sinful. Any sex without marriage is sinful. Then you can be in that species of life. No? Animals, do they have the institution of marriage? There is no marriage. They go to the animal life. Next life is sure. Animal life. Then there is no need. Like a dog, he can have open sex in the street. There is any restriction is there for him? There is no restriction. So first order is the brahmacharya. The Vedic word is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means because of the teja, of the ojas of his celibacy, what he does, he uses his intelligence to understand the Shastra. But now Shastra is not understood by anyone. Even big scholars, they cannot understand the difference between body and soul. Why? Because the brain substance is not there. It is all polluted. It is all corrupted. Like a virus is there. What can you process? Will it process? It will not process. Virus has to remove. So first is brahmacharya. Then those who cannot maintain brahmacharya, they are allowed to go in the grihastha order. So that is the proper way, a proper process. And then brahmacharya and then grihastha. Grihastha is not forever. He enters at the age of 25 and he retires at the age of 50. Only 25 years. So see, each order is for 25 years. First order is for 25 years, brahmacharya. And in this order, he remains with his spiritual master, his spiritual teacher. He is completely disconnected. So the detachment is inbuilt. In today's world, there is only attachment. And attachment means only ignorance. But in the Vedic way, there is constant detachment. First 25 years, he is detached from home. He does not know who is mother, father, brother, sister. He knows only one person. Who is that person? His spiritual guru. If the guru allows him to eat, he will eat. Otherwise, he has to fast. That was the discipline. Will we accept? No. We will not accept. We will say we don't want a teacher. So after 25 years, that life is gone. Then he goes to the household life. But at the age of 50, he retires and he goes to the Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is training. He is performing penances, austerities, like what Arjuna was doing. But that is at the Vanaprastha stage. And in the Vanaprastha stage, who has completed it successfully, then he can go to sannyas. Not necessarily with number of years. Most importantly is with the process of purification and with the consciousness. Madhvacharya took sannyas at the age of 12. Shankaracharya took sannyas at the age of 10 or 8. Because their consciousness was so pure. The Prabhupada is saying that one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order. So that is why in today's world, sannyas is forbidden. There are 4 things which are forbidden in the Kali Yuga. Kalau vivarjayet. 4 things are prohibited in Kali Yuga. And one of them is sannyas. Why sannyas? Because no one is qualified. What is the criteria for coming to sannyas? That should be fulfilled. That is why sannyasis are doing all nonsense. Actually, they are not sannyasis. And people are so foolish. They are thinking these are sannyasis. So what is the principle? Religion without philosophy is a sentiment or fanaticism. So we have to be trained in knowledge. We should know who is a sannyasi. And if we offer respect to sannyasi, just by offering respect to sannyasi, we advance. We advance in spiritual realization. So Prabhupada is mentioning here, according to empirical philosophers, simply by adopting sannyas or retiring from fruitive action, one becomes as good as Narayana. So this is another foolishness. So give up all what is required to be done, and what they become, what they think, they have become God. They become as good as Narayana. That is, Danda Matra Grahena Naro Narayan Bhavit. Just by adopting the Danda. Sannyasi has a Danda. Just by adopting the staff, one is thinking that he has become as good as God. So please come worship me, give me offering, and I'll give you blessings. This is happening. This is happening. That is why the youngsters, they have lost faith in religion. Because they have not seen the real religion. This is what Prabhupada has done. He is opening the real religion for all of us. To be able to know what religion is. But Lord Krishna does not approve this principle. Without purification of heart, sannyas is simply disturbance in social order. So what these sannyasis are doing? They are doing only utpat. Because they are not sannyasis. That is why they have such big properties. And they are found with women. And in their lockers, so many crores of rupees are there. That is what? They have not understood what is the difference between matter and spirit. Basic knowledge is not there. Basic realization is not there. So anyone who is attached with matter, that means he is not spiritual. He has not begun the step 1 of spirituality. So there are 4 classes of people. The gross materialist, they are called karmis. People mostly outside. What is their motivation? Their motivation is money. Why? Because with money, they can have bhoga and aishwarya, right? And if there is bhoga and aishwarya, then we can be happy. So the gross materialist, what are they attached with? They are attached with matter. So the possessions of this world. But they are detached with Krishna. Their attachment is with matter and detachment with Krishna. But a jnani, if he is real jnani, he is detached with matter. But he is attached to, he is also detached to Krishna. He is detached with matter and he is also detached to Krishna. That is the Mayavadi. Sannyasis. Impersonalist. They don't accept Krishna as God. This is what they think, that they have become God. So how can they be attached to Krishna? But devotees, they are detached to matter and they are attached to Krishna. But mind you, like there are bogus sannyasis, there are bogus devotees. They are not devotees. What are they called? You know? They are called sahajiyas. They look like devotee, but they are not devotees. What is their characteristic? They are attached to Krishna to some extent, but they are also attached to matter. So the most important thing is to be detached from matter. You saw, I'll tell you, I'll give you some example. Some days back in the TV, there was this news coming that one IPS officer, he has given up his job and he is in Vrindavan and he has become Radha Vesh. Suna tha aap logon ne? Aapne suna? So such people, cheap. They are imitating that they have become Gopi, they have become Krishna, or they have become Radha. So what is it? That religion without philosophy. Religion without philosophy. The both principles are to be properly applied. So one has to become Krishna conscious. What is that? That is Jnana Yogena. And then one has to discharge devotional service, which is Karma Yogena. So on the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance is the cause accepted by the Lord Buddhi. Swalpamapiyasya dharmasya trahite mahatomaya. Even a slight performance of such a principle enables one to overcome great difficulties. So, and Krishna gives this very powerful principle in the 5th verse. This principle we should never ever forget. What is the principle? That the constitution of the soul is that he is always active. Nahi kashit. This is the last verse I will take. Oh my God, it is nearing 9. Okay, I will just open with this verse and next time I will discuss this verse. I wanted to complete till 5th. Nahi kashit shanamapi jatu tishtanti akarma krit karyate hi avasha karma sarve prakriti jarguna. So nahi kashit shanamapi. Shana, you understand? What is the count of time that we have? We have seconds, we have minutes, we have hours, we have days, we have week, we have month, and we have years. So the smallest unit is seconds. And Shana is even fraction smaller than the second. So Krishna is using this term Shana. He's saying Nahi. So you see the negation is continuing. In the 4th He says that not by merely abstaining, not by just renunciation. And he says, Nahi kashi shanamapi jatu tishtanti akarmakrit. Not even for a moment can one remain inactive. Akarmakrit. He will be forced. Karyate hi avasha karma. He will be forced to act. How? Sarve prakriti jarguna. According to the qualities that he has acquired from the material. So either we are performing physically or we are acting mentally. Action is inevitable. One cannot remain completely free from action. Everyone is forced to act, and how one is forced to act? Helplessly. Many times we have seen, we have decided that in this situation, I will not get trapped. Some unfavorable situation has happened in our life, and we try to learn, and we try to come out of that situation. So we make a commitment from ourselves that if the same situation comes, I will not feel prey to it. Isn't it? I will act differently. But what happens? As soon as the situation comes, the same reaction comes. So this is what the principle is. Krishna is saying everyone is forced to act helplessly, according to the qualities he has acquired from the mode of material nature. This we will discuss. What are the modes of material nature? Just for your information, there are three modes, three prominent modes, which is called the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And these modes keep changing. And there are billions of combinations between the modes. Sometimes the mode of goodness is prominent, and passion is less, and ignorance is no there. Sometimes passion is prominent, little bit of goodness is there, ignorance is more. So there are many, many combinations. So that is why you see everyone behaves differently. Have you seen or not? Everyone behaves unpredictably. You cannot predict who will behave how. And many times we are also surprised that why did I behave like this, or why did I speak like this? So what is the controlling point? The controlling point is the mode. So unless and until the mode is taken care, control is not in our hand. And the mode will force everyone. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that if you do not come and fight, anyway you will fight. If you don't fight on the battlefield, while you are begging, still you will fight. So better fight here. Why? Because you cannot remain inactive. अगर आप सोचो मैं यहाँ से छोड़ के चला जाऊंगा, मैं कहीं जा करके शांति से बैठूंगा, कभी नहीं होने वाला, वो कहीं नहीं होने वाला, ना कभी होने वाला है, ना कहीं होने वाला है, क्योंकि आपका गुना और आपका कर्मा आपके साथ है, आप कहीं भी चले जाओ. So this is foolishness. लोग सोचते हैं इंडिया छोड़ के अब्रॉड चले जाएंगे और there will be very happy, very peaceful. Are foolish, because your guna and karma is with you wherever you go. And wherever you go in whichever part of the world, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, birth, death, old age and disease is always with you. But people are not able to see. They are not able to realize. They are so blinded. I remember one of my relatives. They migrated first from India to Australia, thinking that life will be much better. We will earn more money. Both were very educated, very qualified. One was a doctor, the other was a professional teacher. And their sons were, growing up. But so much of struggle. And they could not settle in Australia, and then they went to New Zealand. So one will keep circling from one place to another place, from one city to another city, from one country to another country, from one life to another life, from one planet to another planet. But his karma and guna will not leave him. So very important, what we have to work? We have to work how to change both. Karma is changeable and guna is also changeable. Both are temporary. So Krishna is saying everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So this we will discuss next. So to sum up what we discussed, Arjuna starts with this question. And what is the question? Arjuna is thinking that Krishna has given me the principle of jnana and buddhi. And jnana and buddhi is superior to karma. So let me use this buddhi and jnana not to perform action. But Krishna has checkmated it. Okay. So now any query, any doubt, like Arjuna had the doubt? Wait, let the new boys ask. Bolo. Verse number बोलिए. हाँ? Fifth. Okay. Fifth हमने डिस्कस नहीं किया ना. फिफ्थ हमने डिस्कस नहीं किया, फिर भी पूछिए. चलिए आपका जो प्रश्न है. तो इसमें आत्मा को कुछ भावना में भावना के रखना चाहिए. अन्यथा वो माइंड पर साचित कार्य हाँ सिंपल है. हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन आत्मा से नहीं है ना, हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन किससे है? मन से. हाँ, तो आत्मा के स्तर पर आएंगे तब तो अब कर्म से मुक्त होंगे ना. इसी बात को तो बता रहे हैं कि हाँ, आत्मा के स्तर पे आके आत्मा के कार्य करेंगे तो कर्म नहीं लगेगा. लेकिन अभी किस स्तर पे है? अभी मन के स्तर पे है ना, मेंटल प्लेटफॉर्म पे है ना, स्पिरिचुअल प्लेटफॉर्म पे तो है नहीं, तो कर्म लगेगा ही. और अगर फिर भी कर्म नहीं करते जो नियत कर्म है तो होगा क्या? पाप लगेगा. पहली बात तो है पाप लगेगा. दूसरा क्या है? इन एनी केस क्योंकि जो गुण है वो हमें फोर्स करेंगे तो एक्शन तो हम करेंगे. प्रेस्क्राइब्ड एक्शन नहीं करेंगे तो क्या करेंगे? कौन सा एक्शन करेंगे? सिंफुल एक्शन. सिंफुल एक्शन करेंगे. अर्जुन का मन यही तो बोल रहा था कि मत लड़ो, बहुत झमेला है, बहुत झंझट है, बहुत दुख है, छोड़ो, भागो. भगवान ने छोड़ दिया क्या? रो रहा है अर्जुन, देखा ना, उसकी आंखों से आंसू आ रहे हैं, उसका गांडी गिर रहा है. तो भक्ति डज नॉट टीच अस टू रन अवे फ्रॉम आवर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. भक्ति rather teaches us to perform our responsibility with more sense of duty. हमारे 99.9% जो मेंबर्स है वो हाउस होल्डर लाइफ में, 0.1% ही ब्रह्मचारी या सन्यासी, क्योंकि सब हो ही नहीं सकते. और हम भी संस्तुति नहीं करते. क्यों? क्योंकि जब तक प्यूरिफिकेशन नहीं हो सकता पॉसिबल नहीं है. ओके, यस देवदत्ता, व्हाट इज योर क्वेश्चन? एक ऑनलाइन क्वेश्चन है.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. मुझे दो सेंटेंसेस थोड़े समझ नहीं आए. एक तो थर्ड वर्स में जो सेंटेंस था कि ऑफ द टू पाथ्स, लास्ट में है ऑफ दिस टू द पाथ ऑफ कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस इज बेटर बिकॉज इट डज नॉट डिपेंड ऑन प्यूरिफाइंग द सेंसेस बाय फिलोसॉफिकल प्रोसेस. तो इसमें तो बोल रहे हैं ना कि मतलब फिलोसॉफिकल प्रोसेस की पे डिपेंड नहीं करता है.
दैट इज ज्ञान
जी.
मार्ग ना. तो
तो
ज्ञान मार्ग व्हाट पीपल आर
यहाँ
डूइंग,
पे इंटरडिपेंडेंस कैसे आ रहा है? मतलब जो इंटरडिपेंडेंट.
so in the Gyan Marg, what people are doing, I explained, na? I explained that the Jnanis, the impersonal, what they do, they are detached from matter, but they are also detached from Krishna. How they are detached from Krishna? Because they don't want to perform devotional service. Okay. So that is why the purification is how? Purification is by negation. That they don't want to touch matter, or they don't want to enjoy the senses. But that process is very long. It may not happen also. Because they are not performing devotional service, they will not be purified easily. That is what Prabhupada is saying here, that Krishna consciousness is better. It does not depend on purifying the senses by philosophical process. Krishna consciousness itself is purifying process, the direct method of devotional service. See the full sentence. So the Jnanis, the Mayavadis, the personalists, they are detached from matter. But they're also detached from Krishna. How? Because they don't perform devotional service. Why they don't perform devotional service? Because they have this misconception that they have become Ishvara. They think Jiva and Ishvara are same. Prabhupada explained about it. I read it in the purport that just by accepting the sannyas order, they are thinking they have become good as Narayan.
और प्रभु जी जो फोर्थ वर्स में जो था जो सेंटेंस, on the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance is in the cause is accepted by the Lord. तो यहाँ पे without discharging the duties का mention करने का क्या मतलब same था प्रभु जी?
This is for one who is taking the sannyas order without being purified. But on the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, so transcendental service of the Lord means that he is under the guidance of a spiritual master. Otherwise, there is no question of transcendental service. Like a brahmachari. Brahmachari is performing transcendental service. So he does not have to go through the routine process of householder life, of earning, of supporting his parents, of giving, financial support to all the other family members. These are normal obligations, prescribed duties, right or wrong?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So that he does not have to go through that process. But it has to be transcendental service, not one's own decision. Like when I was taking the brahmachari life, my spiritual master told me, you cannot join like this. You have to take full blessings and permission of your parents. Without this, you cannot join. Then only. Not abruptly. Then there is no such obligation. There is this beautiful verse, Devarishi Bhutapta Narnam Pitranam. In the first chapter, we discussed that. I will make things more clearer to you. Yeah. It is in first chapter, verse number 41. So everyone has obligation. He has certain obligations. Whoever has taken the human form of life. Very interesting. Page 62, which is first chapter, 41st verse, and Prabhupada is quoting this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. You got the verse, Devidat?
Yes, Prabhuji, I got.
Yeah. So read the translation. Anyone?
By the evil deeds of those who do.
Anyone who has taken shelter. It is verse which is quoted, Dev Rishi Bhutapta. Below that. Dev Rishi Bhutapta Nirnam Pitranam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rini Charajan Sarvatmana Ye Sharanam Saranyam Katom Mukundam Pariharte Kartum. You found this? Chapter 1?
Prabhuji, I found.
Okay.
Anyone who has taken the shelter of lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kind of obligation and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties.
Yeah, very important. Take it to the path in all
seriousness. Owes neither duties nor obligation to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind or forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So the principle here is that one who has completely dedicated his life and he is under the guidance of a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. So what is he doing? He is already uplifting all of them. Then he does not have to go through this process. But one who is not in that position, he cannot abruptly give up. He cannot be relieved or he cannot become realized. Okay, any other question? बिल्कुल, कर्मा चेंज ही क्या? हाँ, तो यही तो बता रहे ना कि कर्म को आप चेंज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन कर्म को छोड़ के नहीं, जो नियत कर्म है उसको छोड़ के नहीं। समझ रहे हो? जैसे अभी आप स्टूडेंट लाइफ में, तो बोले पढ़ने से क्या होगा? हाँ, पढ़ूंगा तो उसका कुछ रिएक्शन आएगा, तो इससे बेटर है मैं पढ़ना ही छोड़ देता हूँ। तो क्या रिएक्शन से बच जाओगे? ये समझ रहे हैं? समझ में आ गया? भागने से काम नहीं बनेगा, बचने से भी काम नहीं बनेगा। इसलिए ये जानना पड़ेगा कि क्या करना है और क्या नहीं करना। इसलिए भगवान ने ये ज्ञान दिया है। अर्जुन को यही समझा रहे हैं। देखो कितना प्रैक्टिकल है। ट्राई टू फिट इन वेयर अर्जुना इज। वी आर फिटिंग एग्जैक्टली इन व्हाट द रोल अर्जुना इज प्लेइंग. What is for us? Okay. Any question from your side? Yes. बोलो. Interdependent. Yeah. Why? Because Buddhi Yoga is practically the principle of performing devotional service. How we are performing action, which is guided by spiritual intelligence. So how that will happen? Without being Krishna conscious. What is Krishna consciousness? What are we doing in Krishna consciousness? We are receiving this knowledge. We are gaining this knowledge. How Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How is the source of everything. What his opulences are. What his, energies are. How his energies are spread. So this is what? Krishna consciousness. Does it require knowledge or not? Cultivation of knowledge. Bhakti Yoga is independent, but Krishna consciousness. So this is the integral part. But this jnana is not that empirical speculation jnana. This jnana is what? If we are studying Bhagavad Gita, this is service. This is devotional service. Krishna speaks the last, I have so many times shown. And Krishna says that this kind of worship is the best worship. If we are trying to understand him, why we are trying to understand him? So that we can revive our relation with him. So that this yoga is required, this knowledge is required. So without being Krishna conscious, we will not be able to perform devotional service because it will be sentimental. आज mood है तो उठेंगे करेंगे, कल mood नहीं है नहीं करेंगे. So what is this? What level? Sensual level, mental level. So that is not devotional service. That yes, that jnana, a shushka jnana, shushka jnana. When person is thinking that by this speculation knowledge, what he has become? Naro Narayan Bhavit. He has become as good as God. Okay, so I'll stop here. Okay. Please. Both are, purifying simultaneously. As we perform devotional service, we get purified to receive this knowledge. We become Krishna conscious. As we become Krishna conscious, our devotional service becomes pure. It removes two things: the contamination of karma, which is the desire to enjoy, and also of jnana, which is the desire to get liberation. So it removes both. Anya vilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhakti ruttamam. So one will advance. Very good question. Very thoughtful question. Thank you very much. So we will discuss what will be the date. I will have one more session. What will be the date? Today is what? 28th. So we have the month of 31st. So it will be 2nd or 3rd. So we will assemble on 2nd. Please try to read. How many of you do not have a Bhagavad Gita? आपके पास किसके पास भगवत गीता का कॉपी नहीं है, पर्सनल कॉपी? सबके पास है तो प्लीज थोड़ा बहुत पढ़िए, उसको कभी पुस्तक को खोलिए, हाँ, और अपनी इंटेलिजेंस लगा करके उसको पढ़िए, ठीक है। थैंक यू वेरी मच। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।